I am fired up for this session today. What's going on, everyone? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world right now. I am so glad that you're here. Whether you're watching this live or on the replay, lots of love to you all. We got a lot to do. This is going to be a pretty quick-paced, focused fire session, and it's going to be short. It's going to be about 45 minutes. That's because we're recording directly after. There's a lot to talk about, so I'm not going to have time to kind of get like sidetracked and go off on tangents. That's what we're about today. We're about business, so we're going to cover that. And then, tomorrow we'll have a much more relaxed atmosphere, and we'll be able to go ahead and sip on the matcha and take a lot of questions and then go over anything on anyone's mind. All right, fam? So that's how we're going to do it. It is Taco Tuesday. Happy Taco Tuesday to you all. If anyone is just joining us and this is your first live stream, I am so glad that you are here. It is good that you are here. We're going to get you caught up in time, but today we're going to focus and we're going to follow what's going on. We're looking over here. Ted updated the meta model yesterday, and you can see he's added the dots over the white dots for the new all-time highs. Maybe we should, I don't know who's going to stick with white. He's the artist on this one for sure. And that's beautiful. And we are here right on time. And you can see that we're getting ready and close, making the approach into the peak of wave 2 and then possibly into liftoff. A couple of things. First of all, people are looking for an exact date or time of when that correction might be and when liftoff is going to happen. We're just paying attention to the market and allowing the market to show us, right? That correction could very well be in place already. And it's not, but it could be. And if it were, it might wind up being, I should say. And then we're just going to adjust to the market and play it off of what price is showing us. We're not looking to call the date of the correction or anything like that. Now, if you look at Jesse and Jesse's work, he's been pretty accurate and intricate of where he's placing the potential cycle peak. I want you to focus in on that. You could go to his Twitter to look at that. You all know that I have the date range, right? We almost tagged it, by the way, last night. And over here, that's just the estimated range. I would like to see us get there. It all looks well on time. Nothing to see or do over there. But what things that we do want to see, right? Maybe I have another copy here I could draw on. Yeah, I'll come to this in 1 second. All right. First of all, Alan, releasing the Bitcoin cycle peak dashboard. Alan, just want to reach out. Perfect that it's a Taco Tuesday, by the way, to go ahead and just say thank you to Alan for all the incredible work that you share with CTM, for the way that you've gone ahead and integrated yourself into this group and really are just like the essence of it. We're really grateful for the example that you provide. It was an honor and a pleasure to be working alongside of you. We're looking forward to following these updates and then take us into that cycle peak. I love how you added the fib levels over here and the price targets off of them. Really good stuff, Alan, and just grateful for you and all your work. What we do want to see, though, by the way, as we come towards the peak of wave 2 and in the correction of wave 2, again, if that started now, and why I don't think it did, but if it did start now, and then we went into correction, and then we saw coming out of the correction that indeed it had all the signs and hallmarks of liftoff, including the price acceleration out of it, at that point, a couple of things would be happening. I'm not going to talk about them right now, but we will adjust to what is happening. I saw this morning, Matt put out a December 6th potential peak of Bitcoin, and that was using the fractal from 2013. I think it's worth paying attention to. Why I personally think that, as we've pointed out from the longest, that, as this cycle has been an average of the previous two in so many different ways, I do expect even the blow off to be an average of the two, not an exact average, right? This was actually, I said, this is a 13x. This is a 9x. This is a 7x, so we're looking at perhaps like a 9 or an 8x, not as volatile as the 2013 move, not an exact average, but something that's a little bit more outperforming the previous cycle. That's where I've always placed it. That's where I continue to place it. But we want to pay attention also because if you go to the Exiting Bitcoin playlist, you will find the last discussion collaboration that we had with Brad, aka the Mantis, and he was pointing out for different reasons than Matt, also a December 6th peak. So you want to pay attention to that and be aware. And that's why I do often say, this is kind of like where we're looking right over here for the cycle peak as far as time-wise. Now, if that's a few weeks before or a few weeks after, we're going to have to adjust to what's happening with price. What we do want to see, though, on that correction of wave 2 and then the repair out of it, we would like to see a V. Whatever the angle is going into the correction, seeing a symmetry coming out of it, that would be a strong signal for us that, we are getting ready to perhaps move into that parabolic move. And then as Ian, the professor himself, talks about, as you're making that new all-time high, and then price starts accelerating, it's not something that you're going to be asking like, or is this happening? Are we going into the blow off top? It's going to be very obvious. Now, we don't know that those things are going to repeat themselves. We don't know whether or not they're going to be repeating themselves here right now, but we are watching for those similarities. It's the same thing I talked about over here when I talk about the 4-step at the top, right? We don't know that that's going to happen. If it is happening, that's going to give us an excellent edge in exiting the top. And by the way, the video recording later today is taking that work and then going ahead and dialing in even deeper. I don't want to talk too much about it right now because I'm going to be talking about that in a few minutes, but just to continue to give us edge upon edge upon edge. And so those are things we're looking for. We're just waiting for whenever the peak of wave 2 comes, and then we'll be watching very closely what that correction and repair out of it looks like to give us a further indication that perhaps we are getting here to the late in the fourth quarter, and CTM taking the ball to bring it home. All right. We do have, by the way, Ian made us aware of this date a long time ago, just for that situational awareness. 5 days from now is Taproot activation. Just wondering if perhaps that could be a potential take profit, sell the news type of event that would trigger the peak of wave 2. It is possible. I don't know that too many people are viewing that as like a news event that they're kind of like buying into and then looking for, a sell the news type of event. But the awareness is absolutely key, and we'll continue watching for that. I know I gave a few different important dates off of Blackjack or Pirate Jack's tweet the other day. I've lost sight of those, but there are a couple important dates that we're going to keep watch of coming up. I want to get into price. Jordan, I haven't talked to anyone at my work or friends, even those with the most basic and limited understanding, who aren't aware of a blow off top. Your thoughts? Well, it's not the fact of the blow off top, right? It's the fact of that people because it happens across all markets, right? This is not the Bitcoin cheat sheet, even though it resembles it like it's almost a mirror copy of the 4-year cycle. This isn't even the price of Bitcoin over here, right, that they're using for this chart. It just so happens that the psychological makeup of a market cycle mirrors what takes place in Bitcoin. Now, it doesn't take place in 4 years in other markets. Most of them takes much longer time for this cycle to play out. Bitcoin has a lot of differences. It has the halving event triggering, first of all, people front running the halving, and then after the supply shock of the halving itself, the reduction of the miner's reward starting to take off this bull market and sets off these dynamics in place. Whether or not anyone is aware of the blow off top or not, it's a question of what people do as it's happening. There will be many participants that look to sell early. Many people don't think that Bitcoin is capable of getting much above $100,000. A lot of people think that $100,000 is absolutely ridiculous. Now that's all going to start changing, but more likely what's going to happen as Bitcoin breaks $100,000, the world begins to FOMO, right? Now, as Bitcoin starts rising, different people are going to have different objectives. There are a lot of people out there, by the way, who think many different things. Some think that the actual peak of the market happens within just like a small 2-minute window. That's not true. We'll look at that in a little bit later. There are other people who think that, you know what, never sell. This time is different. Hyper Bitcoinization's taking place. Now, the one edge that we have if that is occurring at the particular time that we're looking for the blow off top, then the odds are that's not what's happening, right? If everything continues to mirror our plan and price is peaking up over here, the odds that this is our plan taking place and not hyper Bitcoinization is pretty rock solid. You have a lot of people who, even though they are aware, and by the way, the best mindset that you could have is just be prepared for an 85% drawdown. Remain humble, be prepared. If it doesn't happen, then we're going to maneuver accordingly. But to have that type of perspective is very healthy. To be expecting a 50% drawdown in the coming bear market is not. We just saw a 53% drawdown in a bull market. You want to be prepared for the worst and trade what is happening. Now, as price comes up, you say many normal people looking for a blow off top on Bitcoin. Well, many normal people do not have the same awareness that we have. We spend at least 5 to 7 hours a week, every week, pouring into every single bit of, aspect of this cycle here. So as price starts going up, if you're just a normal person, like, why wouldn't you sell at $140,000? What, and why, like, you have no idea what's going on. So what makes you think that you're going to get it right? Even if you have the expertise that we here together employ, it's going to be very difficult. And could you imagine the amount of time and how far in advance we've been preparing for all of this? So yeah, now you could take all the market participants that are involved, and if you see a blow off top over here that's happening at the end of the year, many people who are indeed have a long history in the markets would not sell, and they would not sell because they believe that Bitcoin is not peaking here and that it's going significantly higher into 2022, right? So even though people are expecting a blow off top, many people have been coached and or educated that you don't sell Bitcoin and that you continue dollar cost averaging and stacking sats. Some people believe that, the Michael Saylor influence, it's always going up, never sell. And a lot of people are thinking that this is going to be going a lot more higher. So, I didn't want to get off on any tangents today because there's a lot I want to present to you, but it's a great question. And it all comes down to who's prepared and who's not. And if you are following what we're doing here, which has been highly intensely accurate, right? The odds of us getting it right are a lot more higher than other market participants. And, we'll see what happens. But if you listen to a lot of people who have been in Bitcoin for a long time and their different opinions on what's going to happen, they vary greatly. Wow. We'll replay. We got replay. Will plays live. We got the replay crew live as we're going. Yeah, it's a great question. That's why we take a look at it, Michael. And I loved the photo you shared this morning. That was absolute God's beauty over there. Let's keep going so we could get everything in that we want to talk about. First, right now, all as we're seeing happening thus far today is we're seeing a retest of the breakout. Here's the breakout of the last all-time high. Price has come out like price, I wanted to say price can't go straight up, but we're most probably going to be seeing and witnessing Bitcoin actually going straight up during these, potentially next several weeks. So, but it can't go straight up, right? And then you see this retest of that breakout that's occurring right now, and everything looks really solid. I drew in this line over here. This would indeed be a sell impulse if it triggered. And is that worth selling? No. At this point of cycle, there's no way that you look to sell. And we've been consistent about that ever since coming off the mid-cycle low. You're not looking to sell Bitcoin. What about take profit? Well, for me, and just want all you to be aware that there's no way I would take profit on any of my trades unless Bitcoin comes too far too fast into the peak of wave 2. That would not be meeting something like Jesse's $84,000 potential target. It would be exceeding that, okay? So I'm not looking to take profit on any trades unless the market kind of forces me to do so. And at that point, what I am looking to do, though, is to add on pullbacks. So this is not a pullback, by the way. This is, if we see a pullback, if we get a sell impulse over here, right? And it will become a teaching event if we get a sell impulse. We have coming in over here, by the way, let me just zoom out a little bit and show you what we're looking at. This is the line during the live stream last week that Brad had us go ahead and add in, and it's provided support since. Before we jumped up, I highlighted that on Twitter, and then a break of that line, by the way, that would be worrisome. But we have about a 10% from this all-time high printed yesterday, right around to 62,500. A 10% pullback on Bitcoin is absolutely nothing. And that would still have, you see the horizontal support in that area, and then you see the trend line support, the confluence area of support, that the bullish structure would still very much be in place of this current move. Breaking beyond that, well, then that might be something different. That might be leading to, well, that could be a lot different. So if we break this sell impulse line and come into there, then we'll start talking about that in tomorrow's session to make sure everyone's always prepared in advance. All right, you don't want to have to make decisions unprepared as they happen in real time. You always want to be ahead of the curve. But what we're seeing take place right now looks very, 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 kind of funny that we have perhaps some Elon FUD taking place today, or maybe not FUD, but obviously Tesla was down 10%. I have no idea what it's doing right now. And, $150 billion lost off the market cap. Is Elon selling? Are other people front running possible sell? I don't know what's going on over there, but we did have over here the anomaly that took place over here March 13th, March 14th. You want to go back and watch those Thursdays and Fridays live streams. Two things. I call out on the 13th the anomaly that took place over here because of Elon saying Tesla will no longer accept Bitcoin because it is not clean energy. And then the next day on the 14th, I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. For the first time since this channel started, I am saying I do not know what's going on. Someone just jumped into a lake and did a cannonball and muddied the whole waters. It's no longer clear. Get neutral. And the model, by the way, if this was the mid-cycle dip, the mid-cycle correction, right, 30% correction, it's supposed to be a V. You're not supposed to come back down over here and test it. Get neutral. The model is showing us that we are off, right? So is that happening again today? Is perhaps Elon, I mean, it doesn't obviously appear to me, but anything's possible. And, could it be, we don't know in advance, Vaca, what it would be, right? As it happens, we could do our best to maintain the clarity and the precision we have and to try to, why always looking for our risks, be aware of what we can. But that's why we follow the technicals and going back above the peak of wave one over here. As long as price is above that, everything is healthy. If we did break this line over here, could we potentially be coming down to test in that area? Yes, we can, right? Would that potentially mean that, the price behavior is not signaling a blow off top towards the end of the year? Yes, it could, even without breaking 53,000. That's why we've always said it's around the 15th to 20th of November would be the earliest point that we could distinguish whether or not it's time to go ahead and adjust. But we are not there yet, where everything continues to be right on time. So I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being a blessing to me and to all of us. We're grateful for that. So everyone's got that clean, clear understanding of what's going on. If you're just joining us, you might want all the answers today. That's not how it works. You got to first of all start investing your time daily in the live streams and making sure that you are keeping up with us. It's nuggets and gems that are shared every day that collectively become your education and give you the most solid foundation that I know of out there in the markets. And we're just talking about current market lessons today. There's obviously no trades to be had. The next potential trade setup that is developing would be over here at the correction of wave two, and then on the repair of that coming into potentially what is liftoff and then the blow off top. Now, other things that I want to talk about, so I'm going to keep going over here. All right. I'm going to start with this over here. It's Will first talking for about 20 seconds.
I think kind of what you're getting at, and something that I've been thinking about lately, is you have a lot of people come to you and say, when is the top, right? Like, what's the exact price and what's the time? But it's not that. With on-chain, what you're really looking for is what are the behaviors that resemble euphoric behavior from these market.
Okay, so the reason I'm highlighting what Will is saying over here is saying on-chain will give you an idea of when we're at the top, but it does not give you a top signal. Cole over here spent a lot of time with CTM when we used to do our public live streams. He has that influence. He's got a lot of market experience in the traditional markets. He's an on-chain analyst who also is able to employ TA. And he also has a pretty solid understanding of the markets in general, a great understanding of the markets. And he's going to be showing us how you could use on-chain to actually get a exit at cycle peak. I got to see this when we did this first interview. It was on the 14th of October. I didn't record it. Could you imagine? It was a phenomenal conversation. I didn't record it. So we're going to be recording that again today, and it's going to be played on Tuesday, okay? Next Tuesday and Wednesday, I will not be here. We're going to have a recording with Cole that will be played on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday with Tech Dev. So we're going to make sure, even those 2 days I cannot be there, that we have an extraordinary event happening in the family. For those 2 days, we're going to have some really, really strong fire content. All right, so going forward, I want to talk a little bit about Plan B and what he's talking about for the potential continuation of what we're looking at for the next possible 3 to 6 months.
Right? I think that's what you're trying to get at here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not interested in the top at all. So I don't know when it is. Yeah, when we get there, I know it, but I don't know where it is. I'm not interested in that because I know it will be probably a 1 minute spike, right? I cannot trade it. I cannot sell.
So first of all, it's not a 1 minute spike or anything like that. All right. If you go back, this is a 12-hour chart we're looking at. This is the top of 2012. You can see this is 24 hours up here at the very, very top. You're not even trying to sell the very top, right? By the way, if you get within 25%, you are a hero, but we're going to try to do our best. You come back towards even 2013, and I want you to take a look at it also, and you're going to see, boom, there it is. And you're also looking at 24 hours. You're not, I don't know where some of this stuff comes from, but you're not, that's not true.
Buy at that.
But that causes people to kind of FOMO, by the way, right? Thinking that you only have minutes. I always try to tell you have a lot more time than you think.
Price level. I'm more interested in the general level where it hovers around, where it will. Yeah. So no, it's exactly like you say. So, but still, I think we'll go on in Q1, because that's another thing you can measure from on-chain. You can see the shortage that we're all talking about. How many Bitcoins are there? And you guys are really looking at coins at exchanges, and are they leaving exchanges to cold storage or coming at exchanges?
Okay. Anyway, I'm just highlighting here Plan B's market awareness, that he is looking for this bull to extend potentially 3 to 6 months from where we are today. Some of the reasons for that is he's looking at obviously all the coins locked up. It's my belief that as price starts rising here, that dynamic is going to change quickly, because people like myself, people like you, there's going to be a price where we say, okay, Bitcoin is no longer fairly valued. It's not undervalued when we began positioning in. It's now overvalued, and you're going to see a lot more supply come onto the market. Also, again, what I think most Alan Au, absolutely not. By the way, on Tech Dev's newsletter, he pointed out 5 or 6 of the best on-chain analysts out there. Alan Au was among them. That was beautiful, beautiful to see. And Alan, I think that you are going to get a lot out of the recording with Cole, and he's going to do what we do here, and he's going to trigger some thoughts in your mind that you're going to be able to take and run with. I already got to see it. You're going to love it. It's really good stuff. And then, so that was bringing me back to something. I think what a lot of analysts do is they make the mistake of looking at this current cycle, comparing it mostly to what happened on chain to 2017, where they should be comparing it to what happened in 2013. That's the difference between someone who's an on-chain analyst who understands the full-year cycles and their characteristics and is able to translate that fluidity between them both. All right, so let's talk about the question that came up yesterday. The question that came up yesterday that I want to start focusing in on was, is the first move down, right? Hold on, let me pull up the chart first. And before I do, because it is Taco Tuesday, let's go ahead and play some head snack, giving me the last burst of energy here to follow this through and end up a short but fire session. All right, so we're going to do that over here, and we're going to drop this beat. Boom.
Analyzing the charts, hitting projected targets within the margin. Find the flow, sip the matcha, and wait for the waves to come in with lobsters. The kind-hearted Jordan Fosters, working smarter, not harder to move the markers. On his way to conquer, trading and investing, drinking the coffee while reflecting on the blessing. The markets are not crashing, the prices might be slashing just to pretend they're in fashion. Hit the like button, comments, and smash it. Boom, boom, Jordan in the room. Grab the bull by the horns and to the moon. Flow from the plateau, make the play. Boom, boom, it's a taco day.
It's a taco day. It's a taco day. All right, let's bring this home. All right, everyone. So there was a few questions here. These are all really good questions, right? When buying the next repair, how much leverage would be responsible? None. You should not use any leverage buying out of the next repair. There's no way you're not ready yet. Okay? That's very, very important over there. By the way, regardless of the amount of leverage you use, it's the risk per trade. If you were risking 1%, if you were risking 5%, that would be obviously highly aggressive. But until you understand that and know that, it's very important to understand that you're just not ready yet. All right? You do not want to use any leverage out of that. That is the last potential exit, right? You're not in a position of power up here if this is your first trade. Your position of power down here, and then a lot of us have been, 8, 9, and all the way down is 4,200, going ahead and taking leverage and positioning into these things. Not all the way up here. You're not ready yet, but you're in the right place, and you will be in the future. JL, Simon, great questions. We will talk about those questions tomorrow. I'll keep this up here, and we have that tab open, and we're going to talk about it. All right, boom. So here we go. The question that came up is this over here, the first bounce that we're looking at, what we call the Willy Woo bounce, right? Is that a good place to take a buy for a potential opportunity over here? Do y'all remember that question being asked yesterday? That's the question I want to focus in on later. In sessions ahead, we'll get a little bit more intricate on the exit out over here. You can see, by the way, here's the big stupid candle setting up the 4-step. If this is occurring, right, we're going to get, without question, the very top of the market on that first sell impulse. At least I'm going to be letting you know exactly when it is. And then for those that are looking for the conservative entry, right, it's the same thing that we do, Black Diamond, right, conservative, that we always do throughout repairs, just the opposite way, because instead of buying, we're selling. We'll talk about and let you know when both of those are occurring. That's not here for today. What we want to talk about is whether or not it makes sense to be taking, the bounce out of the first drop. And this first drop could be potentially nasty, a 40, 50% drop that's occurring in a very short amount of time, right? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to highlight this for you to start. Boom. Woo. CTM. I'm enjoying today's session. I enjoy every single day with all of you. I love what we've done, what we've created over here, and it's very beautiful. And I thank you all so much who are grateful for it, who give back all the time, who support myself and everyone else. I'm truly touched by all of you. You have made this journey very, 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 very special. And not only do we get to touch, but change many lives. Alan, I'm sipping on some matcha here this morning for sure. All right, here we go. So here's potentially the first repair coming out of that drop. The question is, do you take this trade? If you take the trade, the entry is over here. All right, I'm not going to get into the exact specifics of why, but I will. So there's the trend line. The trend line is very easy for all of us to know. There was one bounce over here, which would have us for sure having this line in play. And as it was happening, you would hear me saying, this is highly aggressive. You should probably stand aside. But over here at the top of that wick over there, no, I'm so sorry. The entry would be right over here. Here's the first wick. We come back down. This is outside the line. I would be taking the entry here with a stop loss over here. Okay. Now, if you took this entry, right, now your exit would be over here on the next sell impulse. So first of all, it's not worth it from any standpoint whatsoever, right? The potential profit, by the way, is the potential profit, which you could put a fib level in. I'm going to put a fib level in for you. I don't like the flow over here, but bear with me 1 second so I could get to the important part. And you all know I'm not a fib person, but it does bounce all the way to the 0.616 level over here. Here we go. Right? So, is that what people would be targeting on that? Would that be your exit? Is it worth you taking a trade where your stop loss is risking more than your potential take profit? That's not conquering the markets whatsoever. That doesn't make sense from a risk to reward point perspective. But let's take this further. Let's say that, we decided or discerned that we don't want to play that bounce. It doesn't look inviting for us. And then instead of this line over here, right, after this bounce occurred, we draw in this line of repair and we go ahead and we mark it, right? And because that's how we do it. If you're not familiar, after the price peaks, we go ahead, we draw in the next line of repair. And then we would say, and whether or not at the time, by the way, we were looking for something tight because we saw the touches here, right? Or we were playing it off the top of the wick, which is also very safe and correct. That's up for debate. The entry would be occurring right around over here on the breakout, right above that last little peak over there, outside the line, right? And then what are you doing, right? As price was rising, what we would do here in CTM, we would then be tracking this, waiting for a sell impulse. This is the bounce of attack, right? This is where Jesse says this is the highest probability entry into the bear market, right? Now, some people might be taking the top over here, but this is the highest probability trade into the bear market, and that's the exit for this trade over here. So if you enter here and then you're forced to exit here and you're looking at a potential move of 10% if you play it perfectly, is that worth it for you on a risk to reward standpoint? It's not for me, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that we need to talk about and discuss. Off of the entry that looks like a blow off top for all of us, the stop loss on that trade is going to be up here at the highest wick point. So if you took the black diamond, if you added over here, your stop loss is up here, right? And until that is taken out, then there's no reason to think that something's different here on the bull market and that we're extending into the first quarter of 2022. If price did actually go parabolic and then back off and then take out that high, something is very different. And at that point, because you don't own Bitcoin, you need to make sure that you are safe and protected. And yes, a lot of the analysis that we've heard and seen, we'll just use Plan B and Raoul Pal, both of them looking for that second wave, that bigger wave into 2022. That could very much be in play. Now, the question that those that are very, let's say, advanced might be asking themselves, right, is do they want to play this first repair, this second repair, and any other repair to make sure at the earliest opportunity they are safe and protected? If you're doing that, and that's a very good option for people to take, right? First of all, you have to know what you're risking as you take it each and every time, right? You have to be looking at what you're risking and then using it as protection. I don't have the right answer of what's the of what's going to happen, obviously, right? I don't have the answer of what you should do, only the different ways that it could be played to protect yourself. I have a feeling that if we're looking at and watching price peaking in a blow off fashion over the next several weeks, right on target, that is going to be the top, and you're going to see normal market dynamics taking place. And those dynamics include those that didn't sell over here because they are waiting for the bigger move into 2022, right? That means as we bounce over here, right, and we come up on this one right here, they're not also going to be selling, right? And they're going to be holding. And then as price really comes off that 70% move, if you're not understanding how it works, the 40 to 50, followed by the 70, then the long sideways. Until we'll talk about that later. But what I'm getting at is over here, if this is all taking place, it is setting up the market dynamic of the bear market. You have all of a sudden a lot of people who didn't get a chance to exit. We looked at yesterday. What was it? How many people expect a market top in 2022? It's a lot higher than those expect a top in 2021. So if a lot of people are not taking profit over here, they're going to actually then become forced hodlers, right? And that sets up like the pressure on the bear market. So, anyway, we'll just leave it there for today. We'll leave it there for today. Actually, we got 5 more minutes here, so we'll keep going. All right. Let me just take a breath, see where we're going. All right. I'm gonna catch up with just a couple of comments over here and make sure that I am on the same page of with. I appreciate all of you. Right. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. The 10-year. Let me jump in over here and notice yesterday that we were seeing a retest, and we're seeing it again today. Right? Let me come into a better time frame for y'all. And here was the last breakout over here. We saw a breakout, retest, resumption, right? And then we're seeing another retest of that line over there. Why we're above this has the potential here for sure to resume back out. And that would be very healthy structure. And assuming we take out that high over there, if we get back below this, then that becomes a little bit of a game changer and we should see further pressure. That pressure could come all the way down towards the low over there. So we're at a very important line over here as that retest is occurring here today. And I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just observing and watching what is happening. Anything else? We're seeing the equity markets come off, but the equity markets coming off look very healthy. They were very extended to the upside, right? If we were looking for a black diamond, right? Is that occurring right there, right now? You could see the sell impulse triggered. But above this line over here, still very healthy. And the NASDAQ too, the NASDAQ, watch the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ could be triggering a sell impulse today. You see it? Everyone sees it. It's clear as day. Price peaking down below it. The difference is on traditional markets, we do look for breakdowns, retest, and the resumption off. So we'll be tracking and watching this over the next sessions. Remind me to come back to that. So that could be a potential, actually, a little bit of a fakie. When you see a breakout and then it's fake and it fades down, that could potentially add some pressure. We'll be watching it. I don't know what's going to happen. Bitcoin, though, is doing Bitcoin things and should do Bitcoin things at this time of cycle. Looks entirely healthy. I want to focus a lot more back on this over here with everyone and make sure that as we come into this critical point, that people have well prepared. That means weeks and weeks in advance, how they potentially look to be playing as these different moves unfold. That includes the whole structure of the bear market if it is indeed different. When I say different, the similarity between the past 2 cycles have been, past 3 actually, bear markets ever since, have all been uniquely similar. And if that continues, we'll have a very good read on it. If we see something different, we want to make sure that our ability to buy and sell off the impulses keeps us safe and protected. I think you should be thinking right now, this is the homework actually. I think right now you should be thinking, that's beautiful comment. That I'm humbled to be here with you as well. Whether or not you're going to be playing this like this, if we have the sell impulse on a parabolic move, whether or not you are staying out of the market unless that is faded, and at that point making sure the risk is no longer owning Bitcoin and you position back in to be safe, or if you're going to be looking to take repairs out for a lower area of protection. Those things I think should be very much considered. I would like to hear your thoughts about that, some comments on it from all of you. So if you're watching this on the replay and you have a little bit more time, let us know, right? And everyone else in the tomorrow, let's revisit this, and I want to hear your thoughts on that. And that's where we're going to stop it from today, right? Good, solid, strong session. Looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have a lot more time. We'll take a look at these questions from JL Marine and from Simon Bradshaw and everyone else, right? Do you think there is a world where the bear market plays out slower than 2017? It's so weird, right? Because the past two bear markets are almost identically, there's a 2-week difference, 1 year in duration. Are we going to see something like that happen again? Look, I think that the best thing to do is this, Michael. This is very important if we continue to see the similarities play out, then we assume until they break that they continue to play out. So we'll be watching and very aware of that bear market structure. I'll cover it again, maybe even tomorrow, where we're looking for that 40-50% correction, then the repair, and then you're looking for a 70% correction, and then that long, grueling duration that destroys everyone. The bear market is so important for resetting a lot of market participants, and it's grueling, and it seems to last forever, and people don't have the patience, right? Look, until it breaks, I look for it to hold. Once the model breaks, at that point, we will be the first ones to be able to see that it broke, and we'll be able to go ahead and then revert and position accordingly. But I do think that we are going to see a very similar structure take place. The only like black swan type thing that I could see happening, which is not really a black swan if we're already looking for it, would be if indeed we did continue to see the central banks around the world move towards a tightening stance because they can't keep up with the inflation, and the tightening winds up taking place quicker than expected. At that point, that could go ahead and cause a chokage in the dollar-based system. We could see the dollar milkshake theory play out. We could see basically that flight into dollars and all other assets coming off very, very hard. If that were to happen, Bitcoin in a bear market could be under a lot of pressure. The last time it happened, Bitcoin wasn't in a bear market. It was coming out of the accumulation towards the halving event. If it were to happen again and it happened in a bear market, that could definitely change the whole structure, including if the central banks do come in and bail everyone out again with a huge bazooka, that could also end the bear market quicker. But we could talk about those things. We could prepare for them. We can't predict them that far in advance or anything like that. What we need to do right now is we've worked out and gameplayed everything out so far of what could potentially happen from here. We need to be highly focused on the continuation of wave 2 into its correction and see what that looks like and see whether or not we do move off into a parabolic move. And if it is indeed a parabolic move, this time will not be different. That's the whole thing about a parabolic move. It's not going to be different, and it is going to be very much setting up what if we see the parabolic move, then my base case becomes we continue to see that bear market structure playing out. All right. So everyone, I don't ever want to leave you. You all know that, but tomorrow we'll make it a much longer one. I'm going to go ahead and prepare for this presentation with Cole and make sure that we take this signal to the next level. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Thank you for being here. 200 likes. Wow. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. I'll talk to you all later. Have a beautiful day.